responsive behavior for this document. We'll be talking about that later on. Now, if you look carefully in here, there are two forms of icons that are being printed for my web page. Now, you might have seen this link element earlier when I've shown you this was the page that I created, and I've called in a style sheet. I've called in a CSS style sheet this style sheet onto my head section of this HTML document. Now, similarly, this is calling an icon. This is calling a fav icon, which you will see when you click on this. You will see that at the top of the tab, when the at the beginning, it's just before the title. The title is volunteer opportunities. You can even look at the title in here. If you open this up, let's find this out. So if you look at this title element, it's printing out volunteer opportunities at Mozilla. So this is printing out on our tab. Now, if this small image or the small icon that shows the Mozilla's that shows the company's logo is actually known as the fav icon when it gets printed on this tab part. So you will also find this. I guess it's also here. It should be here. Yeah. I guess this is the one. It should be. There are too many elements they're using. They're actually using all sorts of languages, from Spanish to English to Hindi to Italian. So they've populated their pages with all sorts of capabilities from different languages. So okay, yeah. So this is the one. You can even see they're printing out one fav icon for the generalized web pages or generalized devices and web browsers, and they're also defining another icon just for the iPhone. So this is given by, you can even see this in here. If I go back, this is given for Apple devices like the iPhone. So we are going to print one for the generalized devices like the Android devices or the Windows Phone, or even the browsers that we use on our laptops and desktops, and you'll get another one just for the Apple iPhones. So they are also doing, the Mozilla guys, they're also doing the same thing in here. So you'll understand, you'll get to know, when you see this rel or the relationship, it tells you that it's a shortcut icon. Shortcut icon generally means the fav icon that will be appearing on your tab. So you can even tell it by the file name. It starts with fav icon, and there is this huge string, string of numbers, I guess. Yep. And it ends with the ICO extension. So this tells you that this is an icon file, like the extension in here. It's the .html. So the last few letters are telling me that this is an HTML page, and likewise, if I go back to this Firebug output, then I'll see that this has got the extension of ICO, which means it's an icon file, and it's going to be printed either somewhere in here. In many browsers, it also gets printed in here, but on many browsers, like this Firefox, it gets printed on the tab section. It usually gets printed on tab section. If you have worked with Chrome, if you have used Chrome, then you'll also see that Chrome also prints it out on the tab part. Now, on my page, on my custom page that's hosted on my file system, you won't see any sort of fav icon because I haven't included one in here in this head section. So let's get back to this part. Now, if you look at the differences, you'll also see many of these web pages, earlier web pages, did not even have the support for small icons, or it did not even have the support for favicons or the different icons for different devices. Like, we're using one for the generalized devices, and we're also using another one for the Apple iPhone, like in here. So it's not gonna happen in HTML4. So let's not worry about what we had previously. So we have seen how to use a template. Now, if you try to create a file just by yourself, then you can go to File, New Template, and just click on this blank file. It will give you this blank HTML file, but if you want to create a project, there are several ways to create a project. So click on this project part. It will give you a list like Rails project, web projects, PHP projects, Python projects, and a generalized project. So there are also other options, like if you want to explicitly create something different like the other one, or maybe a web project like this, clicking on web project, you will get something like templates. Now, we saw one sort of template previously. Now, these templates are a little bit different. They're different in a way. They will give you an entire project structures with all the required files, icons that you need to develop that you need to develop your project. Previously, we saw how to create an HTML document, a single HTML page or a document from a template. Now, if you look at these templates, these are about projects. A default project will have all the CSS folder, the JavaScript folder, along with the index page, and there will be several other pages. But if you move on to these parts, if you look at this boilerplate, it's going to download a project structure from HTML5 boilerplate, and you need to have a network access for this. So if you want to use a cached one, which means this cached HTML project is shipped with your Aptena Studio. It's quite old, so I would recommend you to download the one from the internet, because it will be the latest one. But if you want a basic web template or a basic HTML project, then you should go for either of these ones. So let's see how these things work. Let's go for this HTML5 boilerplate first, and let's click next. So we need to define a project name for this. Let's name it as Practice 1. And if you want to use the default workspace, you can, but I'm not going to use that in here. I'm going to use something else, like I'm going to create another folder called 2. Okay, and open this up, and let's finish this. So it will take several minutes or a few seconds to download, and once it's done, okay, it's not a problem, I guess. Okay. Oh, it will require something empty. I already have that project. No wonder. So let's recreate this part.